as we tie a bow on 2024
Yes.
into 2025, I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is Mayor Mark McBrayer. Thanks for being here.
You're more than welcome. Thank you, Jen.
Let's talk a little bit about your next moves for 2025, because this came quick. The new year, everything's new. What's next for you?
Well, I've been mayor now half a year, 6 months. I think a couple of days will be 6 months. So there's been a lot that's happened within that 6 month period, but now I'll have a full year ahead of me. We're working with a full year's budget, implementing the budget we voted on as a council back in September. Our fiscal year starts in October, so we're now a couple months into our year. We got a couple of big things coming up in the year ahead. One of the most important things is we voted to go into a meet and confer situation with our police and our fire.
Okay.
And this is going to allow us to work out what is important and what the needs of the police and the fire department are, and the city together in a sit-down meeting. It's called Meet and Confer.
Okay.
So that we don't work everything out or try to work everything out in the few meetings we have on the dais, because when we do that, we have to talk openly among ourselves and try to work out budgets and priorities and all that on the dais. Don't have time really to sit down and consider everything from their perspective and then the city's perspective and balance it. So this process will allow that to go forward over a longer period of time and try to hit a balance between their needs and what we need to be doing as a city, and then bring that to us as a council next year fairly early, so we know what we're going to have as far as commitments for public safety, which is our number one priority. We can put that into our budget bucket then, and then work with the rest of it to try to come up with a budget that meets the needs of the city, meets the needs of our public safety officers, and also our taxpayers' expectations for trying to keep their taxes as low as possible. So that's going to be an important new thing. We've not done that before. It's not new in the state of Texas, but it really has benefits for both sides of that. It's not collective bargaining. The city council doesn't have to approve what comes to us, but we know that there's been a lot of thought and back and forth behind that decision when it comes to us. So
and there's information behind it. You understand context.
And it takes a lot of the politics out of it too. And so I'm thinking that's going to be good for the city. We've got some other things. We're in the middle of our doing our roads, and we'll be bringing new projects online that the voters voted for in our bond issue, and from our 2022 bond election, and then the new one we just voted on back in November. Those will start coming online in about a year. We have to go through the process of obtaining the right-of-way and doing the engineering on it, and then we'll get started on those. So there will be a lot of construction going on in Lubbock next year and for the next 5 years or 6 years.
Orange Cone capital of Texas.
And and of course, between what the city's doing on roads and then the state is doing on 19th Street, which is very frustrating to a lot of our citizens, but they've told us they hope to have that complete. The section they're working on this month. But then there's another section they hope to have finished by this time next year. I hope they stay on schedule for that. That's not the city project. We don't have any control over that. That's a state project, but we're keeping the pressure on them, trying to keep that going forward. So there are a couple of big things there. We are moving forward. I hope early next year I'll be signing, we'll be closing on our purchase of the V8 ranch, where our Lake 7 is going to be constructed, and we'll start moving forward on that project and getting that rolling. The goal now is to have that lake up and running or full in 2032. So we're all excited about that. That's going to be great for Lubbock's future. We are constantly working to make sure and assure that our water future is good here in Lubbock.
I know we're just watching what happens January through March to see what's going on, but I'm interested to see how it affects Lubbock, and I think we can have that conversation once it gets here. But
there's a lot to be done, and we will be working on it. One other thing I just mentioned real quickly in passing, we're going to be working hard on trying to address the problem of loose and stray animals here in the city. We talked about that at our last city council meeting quite a bit. We'll have some proposed ordinances coming up early next year, and we're going to be looking at that.
That's great.
And we've got some other projects we're working on that are just sort of in the nascent stage right at the moment. We'll be working hard on that I think people, what I'm interested in is making sure Lubbock continues to grow in a way that brings in businesses and opportunities and jobs for our citizens that will also help to alleviate the burden of property tax. When you bring in outside businesses that will be paying taxes, or when you do things that bring in visitors and people into Lubbock with outside money, spending their money here, that is sales tax money or additional property tax money that can help relieve the tax burden on our property owners. So those, I always have that uppermost in the top of my mind. So too.
Yeah, amazing. I know we talked about that during your campaign. It's nice to see that continues to be something that you talk about. But I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Everybody, Merry Christmas, and we're going to have a prosperous new year here in Lubbock. We're looking forward to it.
Good. I like to see that.